All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Overshot, a paintball podcast. Just going to go through our two very important sponsors that have been helping us out lately. Been helping us out, with making. First, we got Dizana Sports, makers of the SF joggers, the Grind Air gloves. They make our jerseys. They do everything for us from head to toe. Any of our apparel needs, they've been hooking us up from day one. So definitely go below. Use code Overshot for 10% off. If you have a favorite hockey team, they got these new classic jerseys, with the tie string in the front and everything like that. So definitely reach on out to them. Use code Overshot as well for 10% off. And then our next sponsor, Volcano USA, they just came out with two new colorways. They're going to be down at Cup as well. They got very good bags, especially, when it rains, if it's snowy, it's muddy. You just pop on the backpack. You walk to the pit, you throw it down on the table, you get your gun out and everything like that. You're not dragging these bags through the mud or they get stuck with the wheels and everything like that. So definitely go down there and use code Overshot for 10% off. The last thing, just want to say, our Patreon's been blowing up a little bit lately. So definitely go down, reach out. We got different tiers for different levels of people and how involved you want to get. The easiest way to get on this podcast is to become a platinum member and everything like that. We'll let you get on here, promote whatever you need to promote or anything like that. It's a good bang for your buck. So definitely go down to our Patreon down below, Patreon/Overshot, a paintball podcast. But definitely happy to have here Greg Montalvo from How to Play Paintball. You've probably seen his YouTube channel. He's on the ML Kings. We just had his good friend Kyle Barry on. A good friend of ours, good friend of his. And Kyle definitely said to reach on out to him. We've had him on our list as well. So it's just kind of coincided that he said it. And I was actually looking to reach out to him. So, Greg, welcome to the show. And we just kind of start this off with how did you get into paintball? And then we'll just go off from there and we'll go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on and being flexible. I mean, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out because we have a 9-month-old and he was screaming before I was able to jump on over here. So now he's down for sleep. So my wife is listening in for him. So that was like perfect timing.
Perfect.
But yeah, no and if I can just say, Volcano has been a support of the channel for me as well. And I'm actually kind of jealous that they came out with those newer colorways after I got the black and red one. Not that the black and red one isn't sick, but that multicam, I really want that one. So they came out with that one afterwards. So I don't know if they were planning that, like, all right, we'll just give Greg that one and not tell him about this other one. So yeah, so I got started with my church, actually. It was like this men's, any of the guys from the church that wanted to go out and play. And I remember I almost didn't go, and my dad made me go. He was like, no, I'm going to pay for it. You're going to go. I was like, but what if it hurts? What if I don't like? I was kind of a little pansy when I was younger. And it's just funny that, if I had talked to myself when I was, 11 or whenever it was that I got started, that, yeah, I'll be playing pro eventually. I don't know if I would have believed myself, just because it was so different than how I was back then. But I don't know what it was that hooked me. But after I went and played, I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure you guys have the same thing too. Like, there's just something about it that it can be a love-hate relationship. There are times that I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Like, I'm getting up and I'm going and working out, and then I'm going and doing this, and then, going to practice and going and doing drills. And I'm just like, man, what am I doing? Then there's other times where it's like, this is the best thing. Like, I love this. This is awesome.
Right.
So like, it definitely can be a love-hate relationship, but it's, I can't pinpoint what it was that pulled me in. But I started playing in middle school. So that was probably I was probably 11 or 12, and I'm 31 now. So however long what is that? I teach science, not math.
What are you, like 18, 19 years or something like that?
Yeah. 19. Yeah. That's right. 19. Yeah. Yeah.
So like the first time, what was it like? Like, what kind of fields did that have? Did you just play like little barrels? Did you like go in the woods? What kind of fields were they?
It was, so it's not a field that's around anymore, but I actually built a really great relationship with them. Mike's Paintball down in South Florida, I still remember. And I wore this like huge windbreaker. I don't know how I didn't pass out from heat exhaustion. And like, I was just so scared about getting shot. And then I just saw people standing on the sideline. I still remember this. And I just started shooting at them, and it was all the refs. So I'm just like trying to roast these refs, and they're like, "What the heck are you doing, kid?" And like, so that wasn't good. And then I ran up on a teammate because I shot all my paint and at the refs, and he almost shot me. I was like, "I need paint," and just yeah. So I still remember that. It was like this huge, almost like a mounds / hyperball. Like, I'm not sure how to describe it other than that. So it's just a big open field, and just I don't know. Like I said, something just hooked me. I can't pinpoint what it was.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge, a mix of whatever they had laying around. Some hyper.
Oh,
We
yeah.
need a bunker here. We'll just build a little hill for a new bunker.
Yep. That's exactly what it was. And just, I mean, it was just a fun time. And they did have like a little 3-man hyperball field, I remember. And I think there was like a little plywood kind of thing. And yeah, and it's funny because actually I was able to build a relationship with them. And when I helped run the Florida Atlantic University paintball team, they were a big sponsor and supporter of the team. And, you know, it's just funny how paintball works with that. Like just how you meet different people throughout the sport. It's just really, really cool.
That's awesome, man. So how did you get involved with Florida Atlantic? So that's a college team. Not a lot of people have played college paintball. So how did you get involved with that? Did you run the program?
Yeah.
We've had a couple college guys on as well talking about, you know, paperwork and getting approval and all that type of stuff. So definitely, you know, go into that because I know, remember when I've heard that I played college paintball, that was some of the funnest times that they've ever played paintball.
Oh yeah. I don't know. And same thing, like it's all right. So when I got to Florida Atlantic University, I initially actually was going to go to UCF, to University of Central Florida, who actually has a really great team. They have a great program there as well. And I just didn't fill out the paperwork. It's just kind of funny how that worked out. And I went to FAU, and I really didn't care a whole lot about the school. It was more I'm just going to go get my degree and be done with it and, you know, join the workforce and whatever. And somehow I got in contact with Robert Sims, who actually helped start the Florida Gulf Coast University team. And he runs Extreme Rage down in Fort Myers now. And he actually did a lot of the paperwork. I ended up running the team because he left and went to Florida Gulf Coast. And then I became president and ran the team for 4 years. And it was just a matter of, you know, you go into the breezeway that they had, and it was just, okay, let's see who we can grab. And some of the guys that came out, I was just like, what am I doing? Like this guy came out and he ended up becoming a great player, but it was just the first time he came out, he had this, like, I've never even seen a pack like this, but it was like a backpack harness, and the pods came out underneath your armpits. And he came out to play, and I was just like,
sides, right?
"Oh
yeah,
my!"
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was but I've never seen that. Like it was like a weird thing. And he comes out with that, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is just going to be a waste of time. Like this is ridiculous." But it was really fun, man. Like people, they're not joking. Like that's some of the most fun paintball that I've had. There's something about, like I said, I didn't care about Florida Atlantic University, and then I put the jersey on, and there's something about wearing your college on your chest that I got a whole bunch more school spirit. I just enjoyed playing. We started getting like respect from other teams. Like my year that I graduated, we got top 4 at nationals, and I wanted to play for 3rd and 4th, but we didn't have a conference for Icpl. So Liberty ended up getting 3rd because they had the points. And I was like, come on, guys, let's play for 3rd and 4th. Like, I'd rather like, we didn't make the cut for finals, but let's battle it out. Like, I'd rather it be like,
fight me.
Yeah, let's go. So, and it's just funny to see how all that works out. And again, same thing, like you build these friendships with people from other schools, and it's just a different vibe than, I mean, I love the NXL, but there's just, again, something about college paintball that it just, there's more of like a brotherhood. Like there's rivalries, but I don't know, like you go to even local events will have this where you have guys that just hate each other. And I don't really feel like we had that in college ball.
Were you like a social, like I think what they call like a school club where you guys like had to take on everybody situation? Yeah. So, like, how was that? Yeah, like you said, you had the pod guys. So like, what was it like watching those people grow? Because you were probably a little bit more experienced than them, it sounds like. So like, was it cool to see like that guy coming on with a weird stick of pod pack, like kind of grow into a better player?
It's really cool. I mean, I'm a school teacher, like that's what I do for my profession. So I enjoy teaching. Like it's something that I do like to do. And it's really fun to see people grow into that. And then again, like when you start seeing that your team is now respected by other people, you know, you come in as a new college, you know, you have Liberty who's been around forever. Purdue at the time had a huge program. UCF is now one of the big ones. You know, UF had always had a decent program. And then we come on the scene and we're a small school from South Florida that not a whole lot of people know.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were able to gain respect. I mean, I still remember, I think it was Penn State. We were going to play them and some of our guys got to the hotel before I did. And they said that some of the Penn State guys were there and they're like, oh, wait, do we have to play you? And like, they were like nervous to play us, which I love hearing that. Like, that's a fun thing.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So, I mean, seeing those guys grow and actually some of the guys that I've known from back then that they are getting back into it. There was another guy that helped out as well that he used to play for Static. If you guys know that team from back in the day that played like Open, I think is what it was called back then, but semi-pro.
Right.
They were a solid team. They had a lot of good guys come out of there.
Yeah. So he helped out a lot. You know, he brought in some knowledge with that. A lot of us had either played with the Palm Beach Vipers or whatever. So Ken Bryson had helped with coaching as well. And he was one of the guys that helped bring me into really playing competitively. He brought on a team that I had played with and kind of absorbed us into the Palm Beach Viper program. And I owe a lot to him for just the knowledge and understanding of the game. And of course you continue to grow, but he was one that, because he had all this experience before, so when he comes on to help coach a little bit, that helped as well. So yeah, you see,
an edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having someone that understands the game and has been in it for a long time.
So what was it like? You know, I think maybe we skipped over there in the chronological order there, but what was it like playing for the Palm Beach Vipers? I know they've had an organization forever. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? Forever. And they used to have like, I don't know how many, from what I remember back in the day, they would show up to events with 50 people. They were it was like an army. It was like, you know, you had like Gridlock came to events with a lot of people you would hear back in the day. Palm Beach Vipers would come back. I mean, we just went to a 10-man mechanical and we had 2 10-man mechanicals with the Master Blasters, and the Ground Zero had 20. And
yeah,
when you just roll with that many people to an event, it's awesome, actually. You know what I mean? It's like an army. You know what I mean? You're walking around, and you're like, holy geez, dude. This is
mobbing
sick.
Out the whole
people get
area.
scared easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely something that I don't even think Ken wanted to pick me up specifically. I think he actually wanted to pick up like 2 of our other players that were on the team. And then it was just kind of like a package kind of thing that happened. So it's just funny how that works out. But yeah, I mean, you got to play against, better players. And then I remember one of the biggest experiences that I had was we had flown out Eric Roberts, who, if people don't know, used to play for the LA Ironmen, like really experienced player. And he taught me some stuff in that weekend. I was the annoying guy because I was like, look, we're paying for you to come out here. Like we flew him out. Like, yeah, I'm going to every single point. What can I do better? What can I do better? And
get your money's worth.
Oh yeah. But there's stuff that he taught, like I never knew about ghosting and playing blind spots before. And he's like, yeah, just sit back here and they won't shoot you. And I was like, what? It's like, why would you, I'm not behind a bunker. And he's like, yeah, just sit low and shoot this way. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This is so cool. So being able to learn from that because of the connections that the Vipers had was a big deal. Right. So, and then, Nick Nelson was another guy that, with other teams that I had played for, that he kind of had a role in also, and just guys that have played for a while. And I was that annoying kid. I was always kind of the squeaky wheel that, I don't know if my dad just instilled that in me just to be like, all right, what can I do better? Like, what did I do? Like, what can I do to improve? And I still remember Nick being like, dude, I just got done playing a point. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, tell me what I can do better. Like, I want to get better.
Tell me something. There's something you can tell me, man. I know it.
Yeah. I don't care what it is. Just tell me. Yeah.
He's like,
so is that why,
shit, man?
Sorry. So is that why you started this YouTube channel as well? Like, how did that come to fruition?
That was my dad. He was like, why are you not having a YouTube channel? Like, why don't you start a blog? Why don't you start a channel? Because he actually has a channel for cooking. That my dad, he's one of those guys that can never sit still. Like, he's retired, but once he retired from the fire department, like, he went to culinary school and then started this YouTube channel, and then he did all this stuff, and he can't sit still. Like, he always has to be doing something. And so he was the one that said that. And I remember we were sitting at a restaurant. I don't know if I can't remember. It's been, I think I've had the channel now for like 6 years, 5.5 years. And we were sitting in this restaurant, and I just looked up how to play paintball. Is that even taken? And somehow howtoplaypaintball.com wasn't taken. So I bought the domain for like $20. And then I think I signed up on YouTube for that. Yeah. I just don't understand how that wasn't taken. So it was something I was thinking more like, okay, this is keyword loaded, this, kind of thinking in that way. So I just got it at that point. And like I said, like I like teaching, and, it's something that, it's cool. Like it's funny because my wife she'll go to events and be like, people come up and they want to take a picture with you. And it's like, you're just Greg. Like, I don't understand like why they want to take a picture with you, or like why they, oh, can you, sign this or whatever. And so she's just, she's kind of,
what's going on?
It doesn't make sense to her. Yeah. But she's been a huge support as well. I don't want it to seem like she's not supportive, but but she still is just like, I don't get it. Like, she goes to events and it's like, why do people know you? Like, this is just weird.
Bro, I don't get it. When people come up to us sometimes, like, it's the greatest thing ever. When they're like, oh, dude, I'm a big fan of the podcast. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh, that's right. Other people listen.
Why?
That's not like my mom. And
like, there's people watching this thing? No, you know what I mean? We know people are watching it, but it's just like
right.
We were at that 10 man.
Yeah.
Crazy,
it's so cool to see that. And probably I still remember my first pro World Cup. Like, it was the craziest thing when Maddie Marshall was like, you played good this weekend. And I was like, why do you even know who I am? Like, this is not.
Yeah, I'm quitting paintball.
That's it. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. And then like Dan Holiday on Damage. Yeah. Like, the guys on Damage had known me from before. I had actually tried out for them and didn't make the squad. That's when Silos and Mikey Waring got picked up. And I was definitely overweight then. Like, that was an issue. They needed more of a front snake attacker, which is what both of those guys are. So they've kind of known me for a little bit, but, and, being in Florida, that was the team that I was trying to get onto for a little while. But, I mean, that's the craziest thing when, like, even like at practice, like when the Ironman are like, yeah, Greg, I don't know if this is what it was. And I'm like, it's still kind of weird. Like, why do you know my name? Like, this isn't something like, like they recognize me. And so it's cool to have that. And, I think still probably the coolest thing though, is when like the little kids come up. I don't know if you guys have had that happen too, where, there was a kid at the Virginia, pro exhibition that, his dad had come up and said, hey, can we take a picture? And then he came up and he was all of 6, 7 years old and just huge smile. And I'm like, it doesn't even matter like how we do at this event. Like, this is the coolest thing. Like, seeing that, the first time that happened was the craziest thing. Like, that I was actually working as the warehouse manager for Exalt. So I was working at the booth at World Cup, my first pro World Cup. And one of the guys said, hey, one of your fans is here. And I was like, oh, okay, it's my mom, or, like a friend that's coming up and they just want to mess with me. And I walk out and this kid, eyes get all big, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this is really cool. Yeah. And the other guy that I thought was messing with me was like, hey, do you want a picture with Greg? And he's like he was nervous to say. And like, it's really cool to be able to have that kind of an impact on people as well. And that was something that when I was wanting to go pro, I was saying, I want to have that. I want to be someone that people can come up to and talk to. Because I never really liked it when you have some of these pro players that, like, they're like, oh, well, I play pro with so-and-so. And it's like, dude, after this tournament's done, you're in the airport. No one knows who you are. Like, it's not like you're Michael Jordan. Like, even someone that doesn't play basketball would recognize Michael Jordan. Like, come on,
right?
Like, you're ridiculous. Right. So, yeah.
You're probably going back to your job at whatever you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? My boy one time, guy that used to play on CEP, James Butts, was like, yeah, I was back, at Starbucks as a barista after and the lady was like, oh yeah, you play pro paintball? Like, do you get paid for it? And he's like, no. Then she's like, well, then you're not a pro. And he's like, yeah, I'm really not. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? But like you're saying, dude, like
Karen.
yeah, take your latte, you know what I mean, or anything like that. But
yeah,
but like you're saying, dude, it's all about, and we're kind of on the same wavelength. Like I had a kids camp where I kind of talked to Kyle Berry about it, about like to get someone from my thing is I want to get someone from off the street like Kyle did, because when I was listening to how he was doing, it's getting a kid off the street to D2 or whatever, or even if you don't want to be a pro, but just let's say they want to play a scenario game or anything like that, dude. The paintball community, it's like sometimes you got to show people the way or they're not going to see it. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And that can really make someone's day too, when you take the time to, like, that was okay. So Brian Smith is a great example of this. A lot of people don't understand. I think you guys even talked to Kyle about this, where it's like, talking about drills and all that and putting the time in and putting in the work. The only way to get better in paintball is to get your head blown off. Like, that's literally the only way to get better. And I still remember Brian Smith from Damage would just, like, the dude would teleport. We would do one-on-ones and he would just show up and bunker me. And I'm like, I don't even understand. You were just in the snake corner and now you're bunkering me. And I don't get it. But he would just be like, yeah, I just did this and whatever. Like, you want to go again? Like, yeah, like let's go again.
Yeah.
And
I do.
But he was one of those guys that would take the time to okay, well, here, look at this thought process, and this is how try to break down the field, or kind of understanding those things. And those are the guys that whether I'm playing pro or not, I can go and help some kid to get better. And it's something that they're going to go have more fun, and it's something that can help grow the sport as well. And for them, maybe it makes their day, like, awesome. But there's no reason to not try to share what your knowledge is. Like, that's, yeah, I mean, literally, like I said, like I'm a middle school teacher. I teach science to 7th and 8th graders. And like, that's what I do for a living, is teach. Like, it's really cool to see lights turn on. It's really cool when you have kids that kind of turn around and you can kind of make that connection. It's rewarding in that way. Then you also have parents that get mad at you for, whatever. And why'd you mark my kid absent? And I'm like, well, he wasn't here, so that's why he was marked absent. But that's a whole other thing.
Parents are always protective of their kids, man, or sometimes it gets overboard. I mean, my mom's a teacher. I've heard it all from day one. Even when I was little. Mom, the teacher hates me. No, you're just most likely you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
You're a pain.
Yeah, I remember I got blamed for, and I won't use any names, so that way legally I think I'm good. This kid, I don't know. Sometimes I would make a connection and he would do what he was supposed to, and other times he wouldn't. And eventually he just reached this point, and I'd send an email to his mom saying, hey, so-and-so he went to the administrator's office, and I get an email back saying, well, he's getting arrested now. And I'm like, how is this my fault? And he had punched the window and broke the window. So he broke government property. And like, yeah, you get arrested for that, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I tried to talk to you. I don't know. Yeah. Like, this is your fault. You got to take responsibility for that. But yeah.
You got to take responsibility for your actions.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one story. I have a couple for those, but yeah.
But no, like, kind of like what you were saying is something like Wald and I were talking about, because like we have like a couple of young kids that like have been like, we brought a young kid to this 10-man this weekend. It's like, I forget where exactly we saw it. I think it may have been on the BKI thing, but he was like talking about one of the fathers came up to like the main guy on the team and was like, I will need to learn who you are, because my kid is going to be traveling with you. So I need to find out what kind of man like you really are and stuff. And that's something like we've been trying to focus like on, like when we're just even walking around chilling on the field, maybe MF this, MF that, just trying to make sure we're approachable for everybody, because then it's like a black eye on the sport. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one thing where, like I don't hide my faith. I mean, I wear Christ Crew headband and all of that. And that's something that, I'm going to make sure that I'm a good example. But yeah, I mean, you want it to be that little kid can come up and the parent isn't going to be worried, that like, oh, right, why is he walking up to this dude or whatever? Like, I want it to be an inviting thing and to be something that, again, it's a positive influence. Right. You just hear so many stories like OG Aftershock back in the day, where it's like
that was
afraid to drop my kids off there. People are fist fighting in the parking lot. Yeah, that's not what we're trying to get. Right.
Yeah. And there is a physical aspect to the sport. I mean, there's still that, like, I think about like, Yeah, like I think about Troy Polamalu. He's a great example, with the Steelers, that the dude is like super calm off the field. Like you ever watch him in interviews, and then on the field, he's like, I'm going to break you in half. Like this is just how it is.
Dude. He's a
Yeah.
beast, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's how I want to be. Like I want to go out and cut someone in half on the field, but off the field, I want to shake their hand. Like the NYX guys are kind of like that, where Harris and I will throw stuff back at each other, and we mess with each other. But then after the game, all right, shake hands and done. Like, all right, good game. It doesn't matter who won. Ultimately, like.
Right.
I'm going to call NYX on here that we're coming for you at Cup, but we beat you at the Virginia Open, but that's a.
You guys played very good that match, man.
Yeah,
played very good that match, dude. I remember you and Kyle specifically. Kyle mostly more because like you had him on, and then you knew you from the channel, and then you were commentating a lot as well, which also kind of helped get your name in front of people's minds. So I mean, the one thing I was thinking about, and you just kind of messaged it, and I kind of had in my head. So that Christ Crew headband, I mean, who's in charge? Like I remember seeing Thomas Taylor always wear it. I know you wear it, but like, is there somebody in charge of it, or is it something like
that goes way
where did
back.
it originate from, or anything like that?
Yeah, I want to say. So it got started by Alex Hong, who used to play with Legacy. So maybe some of your listeners don't even know who Legacy is. So that's an old school Icpl team, like original NXL.
Type it into the Google.
Yeah. Go and look them up. But he played for them, and then he played for the Ironmen, and he was the one that started Christ Crew. And I remember getting in contact with him and kind of trying to do stuff at the events. And same thing with Thomas Taylor. Him and I would have like Bible discussions at the tournaments, and you try to do something where let's just get together and read a couple scriptures and talk and pray a little bit, and just make sure everyone's on straight. And once Alex retired, actually I have one of his last Ironman jerseys. I remember I asked him for it, and he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then someone gifted me. It's either one of his original or the original Christ Crew headband. And I refuse to wear it. It's in my gear bag, but it's more of like a sentimental, like I just have it with me. I'm not going to wear it, but it's with me. So he started that. And I remember even like back in the day, Hybrid used to make the headbands, and they had some shirts for it. And I don't know if he was doing fundraisers for that exactly, but it's always kind of been around. But like I got those made by friends, and then with ML Kings, we're sponsored by Ruthless, and Ruthless is able to do those. So he has the design. So whenever people ask like, hey, where can I get one? I'm like, just hit up Ruthless and say that I want a Christ Crew headband, and they can make one for you. But yeah, that it got started. I want to say it's like 05 comes to mind. I don't know why 05, but for some reason that's popping into my head. And that's just, Alex Hong was the one that got all that started.
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen it around for a while, and I never, the backing or the story, or even heard anybody mention it. It was kind of like, if you have one, you're like, you're in the know, you're in the group. But it's like, from an outside perspective, I was like, I don't. Yeah. Like I said, I've seen you wear it. I've seen Thomas Taylor wear it. I've seen it. There's a local guy here that plays. So I run an Expo league up here in the Northeast, so Tri-State Expo League. This kid Brandon Mine, he was wearing it and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking about it. I was like, I don't know, where did that? I've seen it, but again, I don't know where it came to fruition or anything like that. So, next thing up on the docket here and everything like that. So, we left off. You were at Florida Atlantic. So how did you transition from Florida Atlantic to eventually on ML Kings? I know eventually it became like right now it's kind of a Southern Florida, a little bit of a base team. So I mean, how did that all come together? Because originally they're from Prague and everything like that, but I know you're on the US version.
Right. So going back, so FAU, after I graduated, I think I played with the Vipers again. Then Ruthless actually had a team for like one or two events, and I was playing with them, but I always wanted to go pro. And this is something that I had a dream for and wanted to work towards. And I knew I was going to have to go, like Central Florida was where it was going to be at. And so I moved from South Florida to Tampa, and tried out and got on to Tampa Bay Notorious, who had played semi-pro at the time. And now they don't anymore. but it was able to kind of get me into that a little bit more, and then just trying to work towards that. And then I was kind of a free agent for a long time. Like teams would, like my wife is even like, I don't understand how you deal with the emotional roller coaster of paintball teams. Cause it'll just be like, oh yeah, I'm playing for so-and-so now. She's like, what happened to the other groups? So, you know, kind of
they don't even
around.
play anymore.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, we started this other team. Yeah. Cause I played semi-pro with Tampa Bay Revolution as well, for a couple events. And then, just always trying to make that next bump and trying to get into that. I would say one of the biggest things that helped me with getting onto the ML Kings was when I started working for Exalt. I was there, like I said, I was their warehouse manager, and one of the guys that was part owner was Ben Frederick, who ran Hater, played for Damage, played for Vicious, and played for all these guys. And he saw my drive, and I think he liked me. Like, I mean, he invited me to his wedding, which was really cool. Like, you know, we still have a friendship, and so it's still really cool to be able to stay in contact with him. He's a great dude, and his wife would bring us food sometimes at the warehouse, so that was really nice. So, yeah, so that helped me with getting in with different people, and if anyone's looking to go pro, a lot of it is going to be who you know. Just like any job, a lot of it is going to be who you know. There were people that were better qualified for the Exalt position than me, but it was because of someone, I don't know if he would probably get mad if I said who it was. So someone from Paintball told Exalt that they were like, you need to hire Greg, like he's trustworthy or whatever. And so Ben was like, all right, cool, I'm going to hire him. And then, you know, I was just trying to work through, trying to play for whoever. And I was able to make some connections through MacDev, actually, who is the gun sponsor for the Kings. And I didn't realize that Charlie, who owns the Kings, lives in Central Florida. So they were helping me get in contact with him and helping to, like, hey, give this guy a shot. Like he's hungry. He's got a good drive. And basically Charlie told me, like, my tryout for the team was Atlantic City. Like, it was just kind of like, all right, here you go. And like, all right, we're going to go practice AC Dallas. I'm like, okay. So, you know, like that's a fun one to just get thrown into. But, and by World Cup, I was flipping points on the D side with, Danson, was the player over there. He doesn't play in the US anymore, but, and then by the end of the season, Charlie was like, all right, you're in your spot. And I was able to get it from there. But a lot of it was because of connections that I had made, and just constantly just not giving up. I mean, all right, what is it I need to do? I tried talking with, I remember even like Ronnie Dizon. I flew up one day. Literally, I flew up, I think, Sunday morning to Chicago, did drills with him, and then flew back home that Sunday as well. And it was something that I was like, I'm going to do what it takes and, you know, try to get on. Yeah. I had played with Boom's pro practice squad, trying to get on with that. Which I think my channel actually helped with some other stuff too, because there was another pro coach that was saying, you know, like, hey, I think they should have picked you up. And, you know, for whatever reason, they didn't. And okay, you know, I'm not the owner of the team, so I can't make any decisions. All I can do is go out and play. And he, you know, it's encouraging when you hear that stuff, because it's like, okay, I'm doing something right. And yeah, and then with the Kings, it was just, okay, now it's great, you got on the roster, but now you got to prove yourself. And they were like, all right, hey, you're fat, you need to work out. I was like, all right, cool, thanks. So, you know, I've been trying to drop weight, and, you know, I've definitely dropped weight. It's funny, I look at old videos that, you know, whatever, like old pictures or whatever, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize that, you know, I was definitely there. I still want to cut more, but you know, just trying to be better on the field. But yeah, I mean, just getting to that, and now this is my third year with the team, and so it's been really cool to kind of even sort of take a sort of managerial role as well. Charlie, his job, like his real job, is very demanding. So there's a lot of times where I end up having or helping out with, okay, well, let's get this team practice, or let's get this, or let me work this out, and trying to get things so that way he doesn't have to worry about it. And it's cool that he trusts me with that. And yeah, I mean, even hanging out outside of paintball, like I remember we did this is when my wife was still pregnant with our son, and we went out, and this obviously before COVID as well, when we actually see each other, and went and hung out and had dinner with his family, and just just hung out. And it's cool to build those relationships and friendships, and through paintball.
No, for sure. So you were saying that like exercise is now a big part of what you're doing to try and hit that maybe like next level. And so like, what are some of like your go-to exercises? Are you like a cardio guy? Do you a lot of running? Are you lifting weights?
So I would be lifting weights if it wasn't for all the COVID craziness. So I have my gym membership on freeze. Yeah. Luckily they were like, yeah, you can freeze it for X amount of months. I'm like, all right, cool. But I've been doing Patty Gleason's off the leash workout I was one of his first pro athletes, actually. I think Ronnie was the first one, or maybe someone else on Thunder was. And then I was within those first like 7 to 10 pro guys that he had. And that's been a huge help, just because he does some stuff that, I mean, it's great because it's just an app. So I can just look at it and go, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing today. But then there's also times that I look at it and go, God, Patty, why do you hate me? And like I hate doing shuttles, and like, basically they're like suicides. And I told him, I shouldn't have told him. So if Patty, you're listening, I know that this is why you did it. But I was like, I hate these. And then of course the next week or the 2 weeks after, like, oh, you're doing shuttles again. I'm like, oh God, of course I am. So, but he's a good dude. He's helped me out a lot with just, with that aspect of it. And you feel it on the field. Like, I mean, going out and playing, literally like this weekend we played against the Russians, Ironman, CEP. We had like a 4-team rotation going at Central Florida Paintball. And I was able to play consistently and just like not even an issue. In Virginia, I think the weather helped even more with that, just because I'm used to it being so much hotter. So I was able to spin points and not feel winded at all. But a lot of that is going to go to the workouts. And I wish that I had drilled and worked out like this when I was coming up in South Florida. That's something that, as much as the Vipers taught me, they didn't really focus on drills as much. So it was more go out and play, which is important. But if you don't have that snapshot or that lane, you can have the perfect breakout. But if you can't execute it, then there's no point. Like you can be the fastest guy in basketball or whatever, but if you can't shoot, great.
Right.
Like you hit the backboard and that's it. Like, all right.
Right. If you're blowing layups, you're going to get cut.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, I wish that I had taken it more seriously back then. And I feel like I could have gone pro maybe sooner if it wasn't for that. But, all right, everything in its season, and, just timing, and it all worked out.
Right, you got there, right? Is that all that matters?
Yeah. Now it's keeping the spot, and because that is one thing with pro is it's like you have a lot of hungry players out there that want your spot, so it doesn't get easier when you get to pro. Like it gets harder because you have to continually stay on top, and if you have someone that keeps just like destroying you, like, all right, well, the bench is over there, and then also you're not coming back next season, so you have to continually be getting better, or else that's it.
Yeah, right. Especially with relegation and everything. We've talked about it before. I personally don't like relegation. But it's another, like, you really can't be doing poorly at these events.
Yeah. And that was something. So you guys were asking about with the American players and all that. So ML, for those that don't know, the ML and ML Kings is Mielnik, which is it's either a town or a city in Prague, in the Czech Republic. So it's not the Martin Luther Kings, although that's not really a jab when people say that. I'm like, he was kind of a good dude. So
yeah, like
he did a lot of really good stuff. So it's not a negative thing. But they worked their way up through the ranks there, earned their pro spot there, played semi-pro in the States, and then got invited with the expansion to 20 teams. And with that expansion, that was actually that year that Atlantic City. So that was the third event that year that I had come on. So I was one of 3 American players, and everyone else was coming over from Prague. The next year after that, it's really difficult to be competitive in pro as is. But we were coming in, Charlie and I would go and practice in Central Florida. And then we would go to the event 2 days early and get maybe 2 days on the layout with everyone, and then have to go play the Russians. Like you can't go and do that. No, it's really difficult. And there's a lot of really talented players. Paya is a great example of that. Paya is one of the giants that's on the team. Him and his brother are amazing players. The stuff that Paya can pull off, it's just like, what the heck, man? Like when he turns it on, it's like, just put Paya out there by himself. Like he'll do just fine. Jacob is another guy, amazing snake player, super fast. The dude's a missile. And so having those guys was great. But if we could get a full 2 weeks on the layout, like everyone else, we would have been even better. So last year we had more American players than we did Czech players, because it's also difficult to have everyone fly over, jobs and whatnot. So last year was really, the goal was keep our spot. Like, of course we want to go out and win. You definitely want to, every event, if you're not going in to win, like you're something wrong with you. Like it doesn't matter who it is. But last season was really, we just need to keep our spot. We're rebuilding. We basically have a new team. So we just need to go in, play hard, keep the spot. Doesn't matter if we get 19th. I think we got 18th overall. Like it was something like that. Elevation got relegated that year. And then this year was just real weird. So I know that they're not doing relegation this year, but I know that we're like 16th overall. But I think the points were still really close in Vegas with a lot of the teams. So the team's definitely improving. I mean, it's an encouraging thing to see. And I think we have a lot of really good players that are working together really well now. Kyle has been actually a huge help because he did have pro experience before, had run the SRP program. He does a very good job of helping manage. And he's just a very positive person. Like he'll still get on you about something, but he's still positive about it. And there's a difference between, there are some players that do better when you just scream at them and you're like, you're an idiot. Like, why would you do that? But he does it in a way that, I don't know, it still builds you up in a sense where it's like, look, you need to do better, but like you can do better. So go do better. And that's it. So he's been a really, really good addition to the team for that.
So with that being said, because you guys are from, right now, I think you got Mingo, who's up in the, DC area. You got, I think a guy from Puerto Rico. You got a couple guys in Florida and everything like that. Something that we were talking to Kyle about, especially with this invitational, because, even though now everyone's in the USA, it's also still not, you guys aren't all in the Florida region. So it's a little bit harder. You're one of the lower end teams as far as, and I don't know specifics, but as far as budget and as far as everything like that, you don't have as much resources as the Houston Heat. Everyone's flying here for practice or doing this. That's why I do think, these invitationals help a team like yourself the most, because even as for anybody that watched, as the tournament was progressing, you guys were getting better from the Friday practice to the Saturday to the Sunday and everything like that. Because, and Kyle was even saying it, not that you were learning each other's names, but I mean, you guys are still learning how to play with each other. You guys are still learning to trust each other, get together and things like that. So, I mean, what's your feelings on these pro invitationals? Is it a good practice? Is it, do you prefer, as someone that is, a good proponent of, doing the drills with your channel and everything like that? I mean, everything has its time and place as far as you need some scrimmages, you need some drills. So what's your opinions on the pro invitational and what they did down in Virginia?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I know that they want to do another one in the off season in Florida. So, I mean, that's down the street for me. Like I'm only like 40 minutes from CFP. Yeah, that's really nice. But yeah, I completely agree with Rich when I was up there in the booth. It was really nice that they did that, because if I can do a shameless plug,
absolutely, go ahead.
I am doing a raffle. So with COVID and everything, a lot of people, with them being furloughed or losing jobs, like people are in need. So I'm doing a raffle for, I have a How to Play Paintball ML Kings collaboration jersey that I'm going to be raffling off. Patty Gleason's raffling off one of his Off the Leash Thunder jerseys. And then Tyler and Marcelo from Play the Game have some stuff that they're providing as well. So all the proceeds are going to be going to Feeding America, just to help people with getting a nutritious meal and helping them to be able to eat. A lot of people are in really troubling times. Like my wife and I have been really blessed, and we didn't have to deal with that being in education. But a lot of people it's really difficult, and it's something that it's a way that I can give back. Also on ruthlesspaintballproducts.com, which is where you can get the raffle ticket. If you wanted to get your own How to Play Paintball ML Kings jersey with your name on the back, you can buy one there. You just got to put in like, there's like a little section where it's like special instructions to put your name and number. And then there's also a How to Play Paintball ML Kings shirt that you can order as well. So it's all the proceeds are going to be going to Feeding America. So I don't get a dime from it. It's not like I'm trying to make money off this. So it's just a way to give back. And it was really nice when I talked to Rich about that, because actually I tried out for Excessives. I forgot about that. I tried out for Excessive, and Rich had told me, okay, you're going to have to earn your spot. But that was right before they ran out of money and like the team fell apart, and I didn't know about that. Yeah.
Right.
So, but I was able to, again, build a relationship with someone in the industry. So, so when I talked to him about that and told him about the raffle, he was like, absolutely, come up and talk in the booth. And so that was really, really nice for them to do that. So if anyone is looking to do that, the tickets are $5, or you can get 4 for $15. So right now we have like 50 something entries. And then because I do a daily vlog for any tournaments that I'm at. And so Sunday, that video that I do, I'll be announcing the winner in the video for those different prizes and shipping that stuff out.
Awesome. So we'll definitely put that in the show notes, and
thank you.
Try to reach that out and get that out to people
in the description for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, so I mean, going up there, the Virginia stuff, I mean, we played 7 matches, and it's a lot of paintball to go out and learn a layout on, and everyone is on the same level. Like, we all had 1 day of practice. Everyone's figuring stuff out. We're all learning things, trying to figure out on the fly, how do we break this? How do we do this? How do we stop this guy? How do we do this thing? And there is a good thing about at a regular practice that you can go and break down a field, stop for a second. Okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break, talk about this, what's going on. But when you have a match situation, it's like you got to adjust or you're going to lose. So even though, all you win is a trophy, you still want to go out and win. And also and shut up NYX. But that's a whole other thing. No, like I said, I love those guys. But they, you want to go out and be successful. So trying to learn on the fly, listening to each other, being able to adjust, honestly, is some of the best practice. And Rich Telford was like, I would be scared if I was one of the really top end teams in the NXL, seeing all these other teams like the mid to lower end doing this, because they're going to get a lot better while everyone else is just sitting around. That's just what it comes down to. So, I mean, it's
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the biggest advantages of those higher end pro teams had is that like, hey, guess what, guys, we're going to go play Ironman this week. Everybody hop on a plane, and it's like no big deal. And for a lot of the lower pro teams that don't have that budget, that is something really difficult to do. But if you guys can all get together and start, bashing heads, it's top teams better watch out, man. Yeah. And I mean, even if it's any proof, like, as long as you come together as a team, that's something that I think there's also a mentality aspect to paintball, where some guys go in already feeling that they're going to lose. You can't do that. Like, if I set up against the Russians, I want to go out and beat them. Like, I still respect them. Like, I watch Malloy play. Like, I was off on one point watching him in the corner, and the way he was snap shooting, I'm like, I've never seen someone shoot that quick. Like, his snapshot is so fast in the corner that I was like, oh my gosh, like, this guy's really good. But, I have to go out and still be like, I still want to go blow your head off. Like, this is what I want to do. Right.
And I think some guys, they go in and they just already have this defeated mentality, and you can't do that. I mean, even last year at World Cup, if you look at our scores, like, we only lost to Dynasty by 1 or 2 points. And then we only lost, like, all of our points, all of our spreads were super close. And it just goes to show that you come together as a team. That's what paintball is. Like, yes, there are really great players. I still remember Yosh Rao pulling off some really low body situation against us, because he's Yosh and has played more or won more tournaments than I've ever played. But, that's going to come down to it. But he's, like, we still have to go in with this mentality of like, I'm still going to go beat you. Like, even though we're playing the Russians, we're playing Dynasty again, we're playing NYX. I still want to go and beat all those guys, because we are the underdogs. We're kind of the underdogs regardless. And then we have to play Wild Dogs, who are truly the underdogs, because they're the ones that were invited for at the beginning of the season before all the COVID restrictions and everything. And one of our guys used to play with them. So, of course, they're all talking trash to him. So, you know, and I want to go and smash them too. Like, I want to go and just be like, no, like we're pro here for a reason. And you're not going to come in and think that you can just come run stuff. So, yeah, I think I went off on a little bit of a tangent. So,
no, that's
you're
fine.
not getting your first win against us. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the first team to give them their first win. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely
you
not.
want them to earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to go
into the big boy league earning.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, like I want to go have a couple more 4 and 5 packs like I got in Virginia. Like I want to go and have that. Those are fun. Yeah.
No, these matches are hard to win too. So especially, you don't want to be giving them up.
No.
I was just looking at the draw, like a couple teams draws. I didn't see yours. Like, who did you guys draw, and who are you playing first? I saw some of the schedules are out yet.
We play Wild Dogs first, and then we play Dynasty on Thursday. We play Russians on Friday, and we play NYX on Saturday. Yeah, so I know that we're the first set on Thursday, so we're like the first match to play at World Cup. So that'll be it's good in a sense, because then no one can scout us, like Wild Dogs can't scout us, but at the same time, that means that Dynasty is going to be sitting in the stands watching us, and because they're still going to take it seriously, like they're still a top level team for a reason. Same thing with the Russians. Yeah, absolutely. And even with the Russians and those guys, they're not going to be taking it lightly. And I think because we beat NYX in Virginia, they're probably going to be like, all right, we remember some of the stuff that they favored there, but let's see if they're changing things. And that was something too that some people were nervous about with the Virginia tournament was, oh, well, people are just going to scout you. It's like, maybe, but the thing is that it's still a practice. What you do the first day of a practice on a layout is completely different than the tournament. There's some stuff that you're going to be able to do at practice. Like there were some runs I was doing on Friday. Actually, no, I take that back. That I was able to, on some of the teams in Virginia, I was able to do. And then we played someone else. I remember it was the Outlaws, and we just got cut up. Like they just
obliterated.
Yeah. And it's just, okay, well, that's not going to work. But then sometimes it still works. Like I was able to go run and gun to one spot against, like I think it was the Ironman or CEP when we practiced against them. So like you never know how a team is going to set up, and you know if you're a good team, you're changing it up enough that it's not going to matter anyway. So
I mean, at times the Russians run the same play for the whole tournament, and you know nobody's stopping them. And other times, you know, they get picked apart. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, it's how you adjust. Everyone plays differently. Everyone is going to be, I mean, it's every other sport's exactly the same way. You can watch game footage in football as much as you want, but you're still going to have to, okay, it looks like they're favoring this, but this is game day. So what are they going to do today? Like, okay, you can look and see what they favored and maybe try to get a little bit of an edge, but it's not going to be 100%.
No, and like I'm a big football guy too. So like they always say the best coaches, the one thing they do great is the halftime adjustments, man. And like the adjustments mid-game. So like just because you guys did that to practice doesn't mean you're going to do that, because you guys probably watched tape too and saw things and adjusted the plan, you know?
Yeah, and we're going to do that too. Like after we get done playing, we're going to go and watch and, you know, go back and watch Go Sports, and we're going to go back. And it's just what you do. And I know the Russians do that because they have a whole breakdown of like, okay, this guy comes out and they have this percentage of this is probably where he's going to go. Like they have some, they're a whole other level in paintball. That's but
next level. Yeah.
A lot of respect to them. I mean, they're an amazing organization that's been around forever. And the way that they do it, I mean, AC Dallas is another team that's like that. They're very analytical in the way that they break things down. And that's how you win tournaments, is those inches that you can take. When it comes down to that, that's the thing that's going to make the difference.
Right, making those high probability moves. So, yeah, you guys, it's this week coming up. I think one thing everyone's kind of curious is someone who lives there. Is the weather going to be that bad, as everyone's saying? Or at least up here in the Northeast, are like, it's going to be done. You're going to be playing in 6 inches of water. So how bad is it really going to be?
So the thing with Florida is, even though it might show that it's like 70 or 80% chance of rain, by the day of, that might not even be the case. Like we were supposed to get rained out Sunday at practice by like 1 or 2 o'clock, and we were there till 4:30 334. And it didn't even start. It started drizzling around that time. And it just so happened that we were done. So it wasn't even like we got rained out. Also, the ground in Florida, it drains pretty quick. So if it's raining right then and there, yeah, you'll have puddles, but it'll be muddy, but it's not going to be completely terrible. I think right now the forecast is showing that Wednesday and Thursday might have some rain, but I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is either overcast or pretty clear. I think it's just because that tropical storm that's coming through. So yeah, and that'll change the field up too. I mean, on Thursday, yeah, we're the first match with Wild Dogs, but by the time we play Dynasty a couple hours later, there's been a couple matches on there, so that might change up how people are able to run to certain spots. So that's just how paintball is. Yeah, the field is also an opponent.
Oh, for sure. You got to battle the elements.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine though. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but
yeah,
I think it'll be okay.
I don't speak about that. I don't speak about that. I don't say the R word ever. You know what I mean? I don't talk about people start talking. I'm like, don't even say that word, dude. That's no good, dude.
But I
Never
also
say the R word.
So I didn't play Vegas. I haven't played an event since last World Cup. When we had Thomas, and he's not named after Thomas Taylor. I was actually talking to Thomas today or this weekend, and I was like, yeah, I have to tell people that he's not named after you. I love Thomas. He's a great guy, but. So Thomas, our son, he was only 5 weeks old when Vegas was coming around, and my wife was saying like, hey, I really need you here. It's not my mom could come over, grandma and grandpa can come and help, but she's like, I need you. And I'm like, okay, all right, I can skip one event. And Charlie and the guys understood. It's like, it's a baby, it's not like, I have to skip practice on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever. Like it was, no, this is a child. And then when COVID hit, I was like, okay,
I my toe on the bed. No, no
I would push through that. Yeah. There was one time I think I did sprain an ankle or something, and I just didn't really mention it. I just kind of wrapped it, and I was like, I'm not going to talk about this at all. Yeah. And then, so then COVID hit, and I thought, okay, well, Texas won't happen. And then they canceled Chicago and Virginia. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I've just been doing one. Yeah. And it's, I don't regret it. Of course I would have loved to go play, it's cool to go and play, but so I'm hungry I'll take a rainy event. I don't care. Like if it's muddy right now, I look back and I'm like, man, I should never be upset if it's a rainy event. Like it's still paintball.
Yeah.
Like it's still able to go and have fun.
The way I look at it is, hey, like it's raining for them too, so fucking sack up, kid,
Yep. Yeah, our guns are pretty durable, so it's not like before where you could not going to work so well.
Yeah, I'm trying to test one out. One of the guys we had a couple episodes ago, Dylan Henderson, he plays on a local team, just became a dealer for MacDev. So I told him, I'm like, next time at the field, let me try one out, dude.
It shoots sick, and like that's something that with all of our sponsors, it's really encouraging. And I'm sure you guys have played on teams where you have a sponsor that you're like, I really don't like this product. All of our sponsors, I actually legitimately like the guns. Before I even got on the ML Kings, because of some connections with MacDev, I was able to, I think my video was the first one in the US of a shooting video. And when I shot it, I was like, this is a really good gun. Like this is really, really nice. And, then with Bunker Kings and ProShar and Ruthless, like I've known John at Ruthless for a long time. I was actually one of his first models. Like there's a picture of me, and like when all he had was like 4 t-shirts on the website, and that's it. So I've known him for a while. So like legitimately all of our sponsors I like. It's not like other teams that I've played for. I won't say who it was, but there was some stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this gun so much, or I hate this product so much.
Yeah.
But you have to go out and be like, yeah, I mean, it shoots all right.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what I mean. I hear what you're saying, because you're not going to say bad, but you're not swaying it either way.
No.
You're like, oh yeah, it shoots people. It's good.
Yeah. I remember there was one.
We're not here to drop names. No names.
No. I won't say who it was, but there was definitely a company that I remember when it shot, the gun was awesome. But then after that, it was a flamethrower. Like it was just, and not in a good way. It was just blowing up paint. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is terrible. And like having to play an event with that. Yeah. Guns
matter, man. Guns is like one of the biggest things, man. Like you know what I mean? not to say all jerseys are the same, but it's like there's certain things that like to me don't. It's not going to kill you or whatever. But to me, like we even had and they don't even make guns anymore. Or who knows if they'll ever make a gun again? But we had a gun, and it was something where it was like you play the tournament, you win the tournament. Don't take any pictures. At the end of the day, I would take it out of the box. I'd put an air tank on. I'd put the loader on, and I'd be like, yeah, first place. You know what I mean? And I loved the guy, and he was a friend of us and whatever. He was actually a guy that was on the team. But I was like, dude, I gave it a shot for one tournament, and I'm telling you, the gun cost me the tournament. The gun cost me the tournament. Me wearing somebody's beanie or headband is it going to cost me a tournament? Me wearing a jogger instead of, unless I'm wearing MC Hammer parachute pants and the balls are whatever, it's not going to make the hugest difference. A gun's going to make a difference, guys. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say on that one. A gun makes a difference. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, they've been great. Like MacDev has been awesome. So they've been a good supporter of the Kings for a long time. Way before I got on the team, they've been supporting the Kings, and loyalty goes a long way too. And the Prime and then the Prime XTS. I mean, I loved my Prime before. I love my Prime now. Like they're all really, really solid guns, and a lot of people I think kind of put MacDev down and have never shot one. Like they've just heard some story, and it's like, go shoot the gun first, and then you can make your decision. Like I legitimately like my gun. Like it's not I have to say this and I have 9 other ones in my bag, because I don't. Like we don't have impact money, like I have one gun. I have my gun, and that is it. Like I don't have 4 setups in my bag right now. Like I have 1 setup. Like that's just where we're at. So and that's okay. Like we'll get to that point eventually, but it's a legitimately good gun. Bunker King has made amazing products. I'm so glad that we use the CMDs and the control. Like they just work really well, and it helps also with the command mask to be able to switch out a lens super quick, so that if it does start raining, I can just like switch in my clear lens, and you're good to go. And ProShar has been a great support. And then with Ruthless coming in, he actually wanted to sponsor the team probably when I first got on, and then it took 2 years for us to finally go over to Ruthless, and he's been a huge support of the program.
So it seems awesome. Based on it's not just your past connections. Like you said through this whole thing, it's like you knew the guy from Ruthless, the guy from Exalt, and MacDev, all these things over time. Where you say you like this product, it doesn't matter ML Kings or whatever. People can believe that 100% because, like you said, you've had relationships with these guys. It's not the first time you heard of Ruthless. Like you, correct me if I'm wrong, like you brought Ruthless to ML Kings, or you made
pretty much.
You made to help make that marriage work, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's been great with that, and I really think that, I mean, going back to even just going pro, a lot of it is, and this is just for anything that someone wants to do, don't burn bridges. Like, don't talk behind people's backs. Don't do all that stuff. I always want it to be that someone can look at me and know that I'm going to be trustworthy, and that they can trust me with something, that they can talk to me and know that I'm not going to be, like, oh, well, so-and-so actually said that, like that, that's not going to be good, because if it gets around that you're not trustworthy, then no one wants to pick you up. Like, that's not going to be good. But if you're level-headed and you're someone that's trustworthy, maybe you will get picked up over someone else because of that. They know that, okay, well, he's going to put in the work. That's one thing that I think my work ethic helped me out a lot with that. But the connections help too. But with those connections, they can go, yeah, Greg is working really hard at this. And that's where I think some players, they're not putting in the work, and they have the dream, but they don't put in the time and effort. And that's where the aspect comes in. Like, you have to do what it takes if that's actually what you want to do. So it means waking up early and working out, or going and doing drills when no one else is there. I remember with Notorious, I would put in the group chat or whatever, like, hey, who wants to go drill? and no one, I would just start shooting boxes. Like, all right, I'm going to go out and lane a box, put it on top of an Aztec and, lane that, and then snap shoot and whatever. And then, other people I remember were making fun of me at one of the local fields because I would always be out there drilling, but not to sound cocky, but it's like, but I'm playing pro now. Like,
yeah,
right.
Ask Kyle, like him and I would drill together. And I remember, we both put in the time, and that's where it comes down to. But then, not burning bridges, that's going to be a huge thing. There's a lot of really great players out there that just, I don't know if they're just not talking to people or they're just not making those connections. Or maybe they just don't care. And that's okay too. Like there's some people that are really great paintball players and they just want to play D3. Go for it, man. Like go have fun. Like it's not for everyone. Like it's right. Okay. But if that's what you want to do is get to pro, like you have to put in the work.
No, for sure. And I think that one of the biggest problems is people think they are putting in the work until they see somebody who really is putting in the work, and then they realize like, oh shit, I'm not doing shit.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, Mingo, you guys brought him up. He's a great example of it. Like he always puts in the chat, like, hey, king time. And he's at the gym or he's doing drills or he's, outside doing sprints or whatever. And, it's good. Like we know that he's going to put in the work for what he needs to do. With Charlie being in Florida, we can go and drill, and he has a lot of paintball knowledge as well. He's been playing for a really long time. And then Jose Navarro, who's one of our new guys for this season, he's been putting in a lot of work as well. And he's a very humble player. That's another thing that I think goes a long way, is when you can go to someone and say, hey, do it this way, or you see how you did this wrong, and he'll go, oh yeah, okay, and then change it. And you can't be prideful. If you go in and think I already know it all, if you're not coachable at any sport, it doesn't matter, any job really, like if no one can tell you something, like, you're useless.
You have to be
what it is.
Criticism. You have to be able to.
Yeah, and you still have to be thick-skinned. I mean, there's times where someone's going to say, they're going to be like, yeah, you sucked. And it's like, that's one of the great things I think is going to be helping out Damage. They've always been a great program, but Joey Blute will just call people out and be like, no, you suck. You're sitting this point. This guy's going in. But he's not scared to say it. And I think that if you have that thick skin, but also understand like it's a team sport as well. I didn't play as many points last season as I wanted to. I still put in the work. I was still putting in the effort, like, okay, for whatever reason, it didn't work out for me to get as many points as I wanted, but okay, I'm still going to put in the effort so that when my number's called, I can go out and do work.
No, for sure. Like, sometimes you just got to be a good teammate, like something that happened this past weekend is, we were playing like a 10 man or whatever. And, it was kind of like a throw together team, last minute they were trying to pick up players. And it was me, my brother, and a kid that we play Icpl with, this kid Jacob. But the kid Jacob is young. He's only 15. And no one on this 10-man team really knew him. Like my brother and I have kind of known these guys for a while. And we're playing, and he's not playing the young kid. And I'm like, I'm not playing my spot like amazing. Like I'm playing all right. Like I'm not getting like dunked on or anything. Like I'm doing my job. But I'm like, yo, give this kid a chance. Like he might be able to play this spot amazing. And he puts him in. And I pulled the guy aside and I was like, listen, even if it means I have to sit, like I'm cool with that. Like give this kid a chance. Like what's worse? Like he doesn't play it that great. Like worst case scenario, probably play just as good as me. He's probably not gonna play it worse, but he might play better. And he went out there and balled out. And I was like, I pulled him aside. I was like, yo, thank you for balling out because I
thanks for making me look good.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sitting. So if you're going to do worse than me, I really just fucked up. But he went and balled out and had a great point. And I was like, so I was a good team. Like I could have kept my mouth shut just to keep playing because I'm selfish. And I'm like, oh, I want to fucking play. But you gotta recognize sometimes that like, hey, listen, sometimes it's just not your day or whatever.
Or your play style doesn't match up well against a team, and that's okay too. Like if that, again, it comes down to that team aspect of, okay, let's say that we need to really lock down. Okay, well, maybe I'm not great at that, but this guy is on the team. Okay, go do it. That's what you need to make sure that you're doing what you need to. Or if it's a hyper aggressive team and this guy's faster than you, and you need to get to that spot. And he can always take one or two bodies with him. Like, all right, well, he should probably go and play and, swap out when you need to. If everyone's playing equal, I mean, you look at Dynasty. I mean, there's times that Ryan isn't playing or times that Tyler Harmon isn't playing. Like, if you look at it, it's like Tyler's been playing pro since he was 13, 14
out of the womb.
Yeah, and he learned from Bob Long. Like that's a big that's
and
huge.
He's on the bench right now. Like
yeah, and it's not even necessarily he's on the bench. He's just a team player, and
Right.
he's just okay. My number's not up. All right, all right? You need pods. You good? All right, let's go, man. He's always hyping everyone up in the pit, and he's just a very positive person. But then when he goes out to play, he's also 110% out there. Yeah, so I mean, Heat is another example with that. I mean, you got these amazing players. Like, I don't even know how you pick from that, honestly. Like, you got, you know, Impact and Heat and these guys. Like, I don't know how you go, like, okay, well, do I want Spica or do I want, like, do I want Alex Goldman? Yeah, like, how do you
want A-Rod now? I mean, now it might be easier because half the team from Canada can't show up. So it might be a little bit easier now, but
maybe
still even.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you look at Greenspan and he can play every spot on the field. So, like, do you tell him to sit?
Right.
But if, you know, Marcelo's playing better than him, yeah, that's how that works. Like, it's,
that's a good problem to have, though, when you're 1 to 10, when your 1 to 10 is so solid. I mean, I was speaking, he was, you know, Travis was on, let's say, you know, I don't like to use A and B line, but, you know, whatever, you know, Travis was on the B line and the A line plays pro Icpl and stuff like that. And I was speaking to the owner of the team, Kevin Donaldson. The team's been around since 86, before I think any of us in this room were even born, right? But so he, you know, he was telling me, he's like, dude, it was a good problem to have. He's like, dude, I had 12 people and no one was playing bad. He was like, but that's good because he's like, I'm playing, especially in these classic things, he's playing OG Hurricanes where the guys were, you know, they had 10 guys that, as they were declining over the course of the day, my knee, my hip, my back, whatever, because it's not 20 years ago when they were pro. This is them coming out of, you know, working their 9 to 5 and slamming a couple beers and hanging out with the boys. Yeah. You know, it's like, as they're declining, I'm getting better because I can put 2 fast. I have 3 fast kids on the bench. So my kids, they're getting tired. My kids aren't getting tired. So that's why, you know, the A line, the whole event, dude. And, you know, our B line almost gave me a heart attack 6 times because it was like, yo, we have to shoot 5 bodies to make it in, and we shoot 4, and they're running down the field, and my guys bunkering out nobody and getting clapped up and doing stupid moves when all we got to do is tie it, and then the other guy's running across the field, shoots a guy and trades out. And I'm like, all right, I hope we got 5. All right, now, all right, we just got in. You know what I mean? And then it's crazy, but we ended up
3 points.
Third, but
3 points.
Hey, as long as you're in, doesn't matter if you squeak in.
Right. As long as you're in, that's what I kept saying to him. I'm like, forget, dude. Just keep squeaking our way in. I'm like, dude, now we're in the top 4 with this throw together team. I'm like, and dude, and you know, I'm like, well, listen, are we going to beat our A line that's been smoking everybody down all weekend? It's going to be hard. All right, OG Hurricanes, you know, guys that you guys had posters of on your wall. The one kid on the team was like, dude, I remember watching these guys when I was a kid being like, yo, Hurricanes. This is I'm like, dude, I'm like, fuck them up, dude. You know, that was probably the first F-bomb. I almost made the whole podcast. But I'm like, dude, just go mess them up, dude. I'm like, just come bunker them and be like, I'm giving out autographs later. Come get one. Or I want your autograph after you bunker. I'm like, you know what I mean, dude? I'm like, just, you know, and, you know, we didn't beat the Hurricanes, but we beat Fox 4 Darkside. And they had, you know, some guys that played on up to 187 and stuff like that. But, I mean, like you're saying, man, dude, you just be a good team player. Don't burn the bridges. You know, I'm even learning a lot like that, dude. You know, I'm 30 or whatever. I'm a little bit. Same thing, dude. You know what I mean? I've definitely in my younger age, you know, I'm a very passionate person or stuff like that. But I'm even telling these kids now, dude, just because I made the mistake, you don't need to make the mistake. You know what I mean? Just because it took 20 years for someone to learn something, use that to your advantage so you don't have to, especially with the technology we have. Like you said, like how to play paintball, the BKI, the off the leash and stuff like that. There's so many things available to these kids nowadays. And anybody out there, just soak in as much content as you can, man. Like I'm not in competition with play the game. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's weird how it worked out. Like I'm like, yo, let's try to interview this guy, and it's like, play the game, Nick Sloviak. I'm like, oh, I was just trying to get him. I'm like, all right, maybe we just wait a little bit till that one. But I listen to Play the Game. I listen to Carl's. I listen to, you know what I mean? I watch all these different things because I just like the game, dude. I just like paintball, dude. I like
There's enough for all of us to eat, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
More knowledge, the better, dude. You can't learn enough, and you got to keep learning. And as someone that's a teacher, and you're always teaching and everything like that. So, I mean, one other thing. I mean, do you? I know you're a pro player, you're deep involved. In
oh no,
teaching people and stuff like that. I mean, do you get out and play? Did you lose me for a minute?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, but I think we got it. I think he's trying to say, like, do you get out and you play rec, and do you play some open? Do you play in the woods and stuff? Do you do stuff like that too?
I don't. So I'm kind of weird. Whenever I go out to play, I'm more serious. I probably should go out and play and just screw around a little bit more. I do kind of want to go buy a cocker or just a like a sniper and just get a pump and just go out and screw around a little bit. But yeah, I mean, going and
little something.
Yeah. You want to send it? You can ship it down. I'll take it. Yeah. So I mean,
we'll put it on the channel.
Got for Anno forever. I'm never letting that thing go.
So yeah, I usually when I go out, it's more serious. I don't really go and mess around, which again, it might be a bad thing, but also there's times where if I go and just am playing with some of like the local guys or whatever, maybe I put myself in a worse situation or, something like that, or I'm not pushing as much as I usually would, or I don't know. But I still like teaching. So I can still help out. Like Mark Amal Paintball is down the street from me, and they've been a huge support of myself before I went pro. And obviously now, and the channel, and they have a local team there that, I mean, usually we charge for clinics, but for them, I've done basically free clinics where like, all right, he's let me play at the field, or, hey, Greg, do you want a case of paint? Or like, he gives me, some deal or something that he isn't giving to other people. So it's a way that I can give back and help out. So, I mean, I might go mess around with that, or I don't know. I probably should get out and just go screw around every once in a while, but not as much as other people. It's more serious.
What about like the ICPL and ICC and stuff like that? The more serious kind of woodsball-y stuff. Any like?
I got invited to one and I couldn't go. Yeah, I haven't played any. So Travis Newsom on our team, he plays with the All A's.
Yeah, we know Frank the Tank.
ICPL.
He's
yeah. So he plays with them in ICPL. So I don't know. I've never. I mean, I'm not going to say I never will. I think it would be fun to go and play, but I think it's also difficult just with timing and all of that. So there's that aspect too. So not that I would ever say no, but there are times where I've had to say no because of something else. Like it just yeah.
I'm gonna say the one is typically pretty close to you. They do it at Central Florida, so it's not
too far. Yeah, I probably should try to go and play that one. Isn't it usually in like December? Or no?
They keep switching. The 1 year it was in January, and then the other year was in November. Because this year the late one was Chicago. It was Central Florida and Chicago with the 2 stops.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check it out and maybe try to jump on with some people and just go have some fun.
Yeah, just curious. If you do, let me know. I'll most likely be there.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, or maybe we'll give him a call. Maybe you should just play with him, dude. You know what I mean?
I'm down.
Why even say it like that? Why not even just be like, hey man, if we're there, like, let's talk. If you're available, drive down the block real quick.
Yeah, I'm only like 40 minutes from CFP, so
that's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, I think 1 year your team, was trying to pick people up in the parking lot, kind of. So now we got Greg here, dude. We could easily just call him, dude, down the road. Are you free this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Jose and Charlie will probably be down to play too, so it could be fun,
dude.
Yeah,
dude, good to know. I mean, let's see. We had tried to get Pete Hutching to play. He fucked up his leg, I think, the Wednesday before we were supposed to fly out. And then at the event, I had one of our players, Corey. He was playing that woods field there and like tripped on a rock and like broke his arm. Like fucked up his shoulder bad. So it was, running low on players.
Yeah, I'll have to give you my number and hit me up whenever, if that happens.
Yeah, no,
Maybe I can
sure.
come out and just go screw around. Yeah.
So
I mean, they got second place, dude. So I mean, maybe if you had Greg, it would have been first, dude. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I would have made you worse. I don't know.
That too could have been seventh place, you know?
Yeah.
But typically at the end, we give you a chance to run your sponsors, but I know we kind of pretty much did that. If there's anyone you missed, feel free to plug it. But definitely, the one thing I want to ask, definitely don't want to forget, give us the name of your dad's channel, because the one thing me and my girlfriend do is we cook. So I'm always down to check out new cooking stuff. And then tell us your channel.
Yeah, he's kind of changed it a little bit. So my parents are both retired. So they're traveling around. Since my sister and I are, we're moved out of the house, and my sister has 2 kids. I have 1, and, married and moved out. So they actually sold their house and bought an RV and are traveling around the country, like helping out smaller churches all around the US and just travel everywhere and go hiking. It's great. Yeah. Like my wife and I got to go out to Utah and go hike out there with them, like 2 years ago. And I'm always jealous of Christian over with Virtue, because I follow him on Instagram, and he posts up because he lives near Zion National Park, which is my favorite national park now. And he's like, I go in and doing this. I'm like, oh yeah, it's amazing. I loved it. But yeah, it's the Hungry Cuban. Like I'm half Cuban. I know I don't look it at all, but yeah. So my dad is from Cuba. It's the Hungry Cuban. And so he has some RV stuff, and then he has some cooking stuff, and he tries to take like traditional recipes and make them healthier. So for people that are looking for that. Hit him up, and I'm sure he'll be kind of surprised. Actually, I'm not going to tell him that I was on the podcast. I'm going to text him in a little bit and just see if he gets some more subscribers that are saying like, I heard about you on some podcast.
Definitely about to get one from me.
I heard your son plays paintball or ping pong or something.
Yeah. And then my channel, so How to Play Paintball. So it's super easy to get to. It's the one that has the lion on it. I do have a Patreon as well. So if you have questions, I try to hit people up there for if they have a certain video that they want to see. There's some private videos that I've put up just for them if they have a question. So I'll go through and do that. So I appreciate all of them for their support. Like I'm sure you guys appreciate all the Patreon that you have. So How to Play Paintball, every Monday is a new video. I think I've only skipped a handful, maybe 5, 5-6 years I've been doing this. Every Monday is a new video. I try to do reviews, drills. I do layout breakdowns. My own self-playing critiques actually help me out as well. So I have my GoPro on my barrel, and I'll go through and play and then go back and talk about here's why I did this or why I didn't do this, or here's what I could have done different. And all those things help me out. So, it helps other people out as well. Trying to see if I'm forgetting anyone. Volcano, they sponsor me as well. So they're awesome. Let's see, punisherspb.com has been a huge support of the channel as well. And if you're in the Florida area, Mark 'em All Paintball, Central Florida Paintball. Central Florida is the kind of official home of the ML Kings. They've been a huge support of us. Mark 'em All is in Winter Haven, Florida, which is where I'm at. And they've been a huge support. They have kind of like a 3-man field, and then some scenario fields where you can like jump on trucks and like shoot out of a bus and stuff. So those are fun. So they're great. And like I said, for the Kings, we have ProShar for paint, Bunker Kings for our some of our soft goods and mask loader. Powerhouse has been an amazing support. You want to talk about support? Those guys show up to events, and like one of the guys comes in with like jeweler magnifying glasses or whatever to like fix things. It's the craziest thing to see. And then MacDev, like I had said, Ruthless has been a huge support this year. Is our first year with them, and have been doing a lot of stuff. If you put in MLK 10, you can get 10% off your order on Ruthless. Yeah, so go over there. There's a lot of ML King stuff, How to Play Paintball stuff, and then any other gear that's over there as well. But I hope I didn't forget someone. If I did, I'm gonna get yelled at. But I can't think of anyone else right now.
It's cool. I like when people forget people, because then it forces them to come back on the show.
Okay, I'm always down to come back on. I appreciate you guys reaching out and being flexible, like I said. So
No,
dude, it worked out, man. It was great having you guys. Everybody, definitely check out Greg's channel. We're happy to have Greg. And always remember, subscribe, rate, review, smash that like button. And
on all
we'll
our
see
channels,
you
Greg's
out there on the
too.
field. And if you see Greg out there at World Cup, tell him we sent you. If you go to his dad's channel, tell him we sent you. And thanks, everybody. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.